Hey everybody, how are you guys doing? So good to see you. Thank you for hanging out with me on Friday night. I appreciate it. It is Susan Lynn Friday Night Live. Yeah, you're not late. You're right on time, right on time. You made the live. Yes, everybody made the live. I'm so glad to see you all. We made it through another week. Can you believe it? Can you really believe that we made it through another week? Wow. I don't know if you guys are watching the news much. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to, but I did see a couple of things today that happened. But I'm here to chat with you guys and hang out, and we can talk politics, and we can talk about whatever you want. And yeah, the time is 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 Mountain, depending on what mountain you live on, and 7 Central and 8 Eastern. And it was an hour later, but I moved it up because it was getting so late for the Eastern folks. It's a little early for the Western folks. It's just hard to find a good time, for everybody. But yeah, so it's 5 o'clock or 6 or 7 or 8, depending on where you live. Yeah, hello Australia. Hello New York City. All right. Yeah, we do need some comic relief. I could talk about comic relief. Let me just give it a few minutes and I will say that I asked my guides the same thing and they told me something that's potentially going to happen that's kind of funny, but I want to wait just a minute for people to come on board. So yeah, I will remind me to talk about that. Young Jasper is doing great. He had his like fourth day at doggy daycare today, and that boy is sacked out. Let me tell you, he is down for the count. He's out. He played, and Zoe naps. I paid for her to nap and him to play. That's what they said this morning. Oh, Zoe's here to take a nap, and Jasper's here to play. I'm like, wait a minute. But it really does work. They both really enjoy that, and it gives me some time without them, so it's all good. And it's great for him because it's helping him become socialized. So it's nice. Yeah, NorCal is here, Cape Cod is here. Awesome. Well, look at this question. Hold on. Let's see if I can grab it before it goes by. Is there anything, Talon Young says, is there anything UFO associated with the general missing from New Mexico? Well, I mean, that's interesting that you asked that because that's what I was going to talk about this morning. Wait, this morning. Hello. This evening is something to do with UFOs and Rubio and Hegseth. But when I go into your question, Talon, about McCaslin, I think is his name, the general, but also there's a woman who's also missing from New Mexico who was a NASA employee. And I think those two are related. And I think they're related to the scientists that have been deleted, the very high level scientists. I feel like there's a connection here. I feel like the energy suggests there's a cover up happening. Not a cover up, there's a cover up of their disappearances, but there's also a cover up of why they are disappearing them because they're covering something up. Let's put it that way. And yeah, 6 people are missing. If you want to draw all those dots, there's 6 people that are missing, and I think that they are connected. Maybe not from our viewpoint, right? Because we don't have all the facts. We don't know everything, but if you look at it energetically, they're connected. Um, in a weird way. I don't think it's aliens, but I think the aliens are here and doing things. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So thank you for your question. I think that, I mean, another question would be like, is there some sort of extra human energy involved in those disappearances? And I would say yes, but not directly. Not directly, but yes, it is part of the bigger picture. Because I think that there's I mean, I don't know how many of you guys believe in aliens or what anything like that. Personally, I'm an experiencer. I believe in them. And I also believe that some are bad and some are good and some are indifferent, just like humans. Some humans are great, some humans 1 star, would not recommend, right? So that's kind of how I feel about them as well. And I do think that they're here mining materials that are very important for their level of transport and whatever whatever their existence is. We do not know how to use these minerals yet. We don't understand the importance of them. So there's sort of a, a a partnership happening where certain people look the other way and they look the other way. But so I feel like what's happening is this is sort of overlapping this sort of these scientists that are coming up with these new ways to create power, energy. Yeah, I think that's starting to overlap into some areas that they would rather not have happen. But let's stay with the alien. What is it? What is that guy's name? When you say I'd like to stay with for 500 with aliens, right? Alex, I'd like to stay for 500 with aliens. So that's what the guides told me was, and it's funny, but only because at this, like I was telling the guy at the grocery store today, it's like I'm not even complaining anymore because it's so bizarre that it's funny. It's like it's just so crazy that it's just funny. So the guides told me, they said there's a real chance of, how all the people in the alien community, they want disclosure. I don't want disclosure. They already disclosed to me. They disclosed to me, honey. I already know. I don't need nobody to say it happened. I know it happened. So I don't know why people are waiting for people to disclose it, because all of us already been disclosed to. But anyway, so here's the scenario where they showed me Rubio, and Rubio has contact. The aliens are like, in the situation room with Rubio, and Rubio is sweating bullets. Like, this is the vision I saw today. He's sweating bullets, like he's permeating his clothes, is the way they describe it. And so anyway, Rubio goes to the public and goes, "Hey, the aliens are here and they're not nice." And they're really actually just not nice to him because he's an F-wad. But anyway, and then Hegseth, I saw Hegseth soil his tidy whities. And so Hegseth and Rubio, in this vision, there's only those two. They're trying to tell the American people this is real. But because we don't believe anything they say, we really have aliens in the White House and we won't believe them. We just simply will not believe them, but it's actually true. Isn't that diabolical? Doesn't that make sense for how our crazy timeline is right now? It's just nuts. So yeah, exactly. So that's going on. No big thing, right? No big thing. Um Yeah, so how are you guys doing today on I haven't heard the Bette Midler rallying song. I want to hear it though. I bet that would be amazing. I know that the boss Bruce Springsteen made one, but I didn't know Bette Midler. Um oh, you didn't. Wow. Well, guess what? I'm live now, Colleen. Good to see you. I'm glad you didn't wait till 8:30, because we would have probably missed each other. Um, that's interesting. Everybody thought it was on the half hour, but it's always been on the hour. Um, Bonnie says in her 20s she saw UFOs. She has no fear of them and missed them in her life right now. Aw, well, I think that if you want them to show up, I think they probably would. But I would say again that not all aliens, just like all people, are not the same. So make sure that you connect with the higher vibrational ones. Um, let's see. Speak to the No Kings tomorrow. Okay. Well, I don't know what you want me to say about it, but I would say that it's going to be record breaking. It's going to be absolutely record breaking. I feel like there are going to be some cities with bad weather, but I think for the most part, a lot of the country is going to have good weather. That's really going to help turnout. I think the turnout is going to scare the pants off of everybody, including local police, even local like FBI, and then also regional and all the way up to the White House. I think this is going to send them a message. To me, the guides are saying this puts this is the period in the sentence, right? Like maybe they were waiting for some kind of real data that they could say, you know what, people are fed up. This is kind of it. Like this is a really I just see people going to the higher ups going, look at these numbers. We've been trying to tell you, you're not listening. You're going to have to listen. You've got a real problem on your hands. So that's what I see happening. Now, there are some weird things happening, you guys. A couple of weird things happening. One is there were some drones over an Air Force base in Louisiana that nobody knows who they belong to, and it did interrupt our actual Air Force business. That's something. And then secondly, they are reporting that bases were destroyed. Our bases were destroyed in the Middle East. We have them no more. They are no more. And then today, I think 10 service members were injured in an attack. So I'm saying this to you in the whole overview of No Kings, that if you were planning to do something like a false flag and you had hundreds of thousands, millions and millions of people out, there would be a good time. So I'm just telling you guys, don't be afraid, but follow your intuition. If your intuition says, I don't know, I was ready, I had my signs, I had my water, I have my good shoes, comfortable walking shoes, and now I'm not feeling it. Just listen to your own intuition. And then what I always tell you guys is be smart, right? Cover your face. I just think we're really not taking this whole thing so seriously. Wear a mask, wear sunglasses, wear a hoodie, wear a hat. Don't let them photograph your face, because the technology that they have can take that photograph and put it in a database, and now all of a sudden they have you on this incredible database that can know where you work, where what your social media is. They can know when you're going to fly next. They can take you on, put you on a no flies list. It can really bugger up your life without ever even you knowing about it. You just, people are already reporting getting dropped from global entry. Global entry is like clear when you fly, except for global entry is global. So when you get global entry, you have to go to an interview in person. You have to have an FBI background check to get global entry, and then you have to pay a couple of $100. People that have that are reporting that their global entry is getting canceled. And I can tell you that the global entry offices in some parts of the country, like for instance, Portland, Oregon, are down. They're not even allowing you to go apply. So I just feel like be careful, right? Be careful this weekend. I don't particularly see, I mean, let's say there's 100,000 people out there, right? Like, so let's say there's a skirmish or a something here or there. That's normal, right? That's going to be normal for such a big group of people. I don't see any huge thing, but I also feel like they are planning something, right? And if you have global entry, just all you can do is monitor it, right? The people that I know that got it canceled, they got no reason for it to be canceled. It was canceled. So now they think that it happened to them because they are active on social media. Not, they don't have a YouTube channel, but they're active on various social media in a negative way towards the president. So that's what they think it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a glitch. We don't know right now, right? So I just want everybody to be safe and to be smart. Just let's all be smarter than them. It's not hard to do, right? There's a rumor, according to Nicole Rodriguez, that U.S. boots on the ground either tonight or tomorrow. Any truth to that? I feel like by Sunday, and when you say boots on the ground, we need to understand that may not be 50,000 boots on the ground. It might be 100, or I don't have a great feeling for us being on soil there, either at Karg Island or in Iran. I don't, it is not a good thing. It's not good. It's just not good. It's not going to go well for us. So yes, I think they're going to put boots on the ground. That's their plan. Now, right. So the guides are saying they shipped all those Marines, and they should be arriving, I think, tonight. So you guys, this is going to be a mess. It could be a potential where they actually capture our soldiers, because the guides have been talking to me about the Iran, um, the hostage situation that basically was the reason why Carter did not win his reelection. And also, it came out later on his deathbed that one of Reagan's advisors came out and said Reagan made that happen. He called them and made that happen so that it would look bad on Carter. So this is what I feel like. I feel like we could have actual there could be prisoners of war. We're not even at war, but there could be prisoners of war there. So, I mean, right now, I know a lot of people have an incredible number of you have friends and family in the military, and just hold them in the light. Hold them. This is not their idea. They didn't sign up to do this. They're following the orders of a madman, but they're legal orders right now. If you're told to show up, you have to show up. Now, if you're told to shoot citizens or something, then that's against the rules of engagement. But to go there is a legal order. They have to do that, right? And I think I saw some people talk about how some people were trying to flunk the blood work or the P test by, smoking a little, something, something. And I'm just going to tell you that even during Vietnam, they were like, we don't care, get out there. So I don't think they care. They raised the, you read my mind. Is this what you said? Yes. Dan Slauer said, maybe somebody has already asked, but what do I think about the recruitment age being changed to 42? This is what I was just getting ready to say. They're not going to care if you've got marijuana in your system. They're not going to care. They got a 42-year-old. When they did that, social media was full of guys and women saying, wow, I went in at 24 years of age and the 18-year-olds were kicking my butt. I went in at 28 years of age and the 18-year-olds were kicking my butt. These are people under 30, and the 18-year-olds were killing them. And you think a 42-year-old person is going to be able to get through boot camp? This is desperation. If you needed proof, this is proof. And I also feel like this is a step towards the draft, because Congress can go and say, oh, well, we had this attack. It's not, but attack on us. And we raised the rate to 42, but we're not getting enough people. It's like when you have to do all the things you have to do before you go ask your boss for a raise. This is what they're doing. They're doing all the things so that when they go to the people and they say, hey, we have to do the draft. We raised it to 42. We can't get enough people. This is what they're doing. They know 42-year-olds are not going to go through the basic camp. They know that. This is them preparing to try to get the draft passed, which I've been saying for a month or more, actually. Yeah, they should take ICE, but they're not, because ICE is doing a job they want them to do. That's a job they like. They want them to do that. Yeah, Eric Trump is 42. Nice, Judy. Nice. Yeah. The purple ball behind me is I don't know what it's called. I wish I could tell you what it's called, but it's just something that I got that it's actually plugged in right now, but it can run without being plugged in, and it's on a little stand, and you can use it as a night light. If you just look up like glowing orb night light, you'll probably find it. I really don't know what they call it. But I like it. I have one in my bedroom, and I was like, I want one for my office too. Um, this is horrible. It's a horrible time right now. We should all get to vote before going to war. Well, you know, Korea, my dad fought in Korea. They called that like a police action. Vietnam, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. These are all things that weren't wars. I mean, this is something that I think we really need to force Congress to do something about, to force them. Well, trust me when I say we have a lot of work to do. We have just a lot of work to do, and we will. What do you see about sleeper cells in the U.S.? Whoops. Okay, let's talk about this for a second because I've seen a lot of Democrats online say that this is like, for instance, these drones in Louisiana at the Air Force Base, that they are for sure Iranian sleeper cells. I don't feel that for so many reasons. First of all, I just don't get that from my spirit guides. Second of all, Iran is they don't have to do this. They shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They've cut off the whole world. The whole world is begging them to be nice. They don't need to somehow ship a bunch of, 20 drones that would take up a whole semi truck. That's not, I mean, we have to really, again, I know we want, I know that this just seems logical, but if you really think about it, it's not logical. They don't need to ever fire on us. They've already bombed all of our bases. Very, very important communication bases are gone. They've already done everything to us that nobody's ever done, and except for Pearl Harbor, right? So I don't see this being Iran. I see this being a false flag, because the whole point is to demoralize us. The guides are saying, and this is where we are, right? So I don't see that. I think it's a false flag. Um, could someone who's in the United States who is sympathetic to that country take it upon themselves to grab a GUN and do something? Yes, but that wouldn't be that they called this person and said, go do this. This would be like what they call a lone wolf situation. Okay. Um, there are sleeper cells. They're us. We are the enemy. That's what I feel, honestly. Um, I mean, this is a good question. I just saw this literally a few minutes ago. Julie says, what do the Iranians have from Patel's hacked email? Well, a lot of it we're not going to see because it's better for them to use it for blackmail, right? You know what I mean? Like, the point of making it public is what makes it worth so much money, right? Like you're threatening to make it public, so it never becomes public because the fee is paid. Okay, so I think there's going to be a fee paid, but I think some of it will be public. That is, again, the guides are saying, demoralizing and embarrassing. We are not used to being embarrassed. I mean, you think about that for a second, right? We are not embarrassed. We have that American exceptionalism, virus. So for us to be embarrassed again and again and again and again and again and again is going to be too much to take. So yeah, I think it's going to be things that are going to be embarrassing, like petty personality infighting. Also, it's meant to prove that they are infighting, that they're not a cohesive group. It's to make them look immature, and it will do all those things. Now, will there be a few things that are pretty, like, wow, that really they really did release that? Yes, there will be a couple, because you have to have proof, right? Like, if you're doing a deal, you've got to show somebody that how much pain it's going to cause them, right? So you leak a few things. Now, the other thing is finding an outlet that'll cover it, because the NYT is not going to probably cover it. Various newspapers are not going to cover it necessarily. So, but I think that this is helpful for us because, well, for one thing, it shows them, Patel, but also 47 and all the others, that they're not safe, that they're not almighty, that they're not the big bully on the hill, that we can find out everything about you. I mean, truly, they can. So I think it's going to be helpful to us because it's going to make them less powerful, if I can explain it like that. Let's see what else is going on in the chat here. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. If you just happen to come across this, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. I'm a spirit navigator. I predict politics as well as, have a lot of spiritual and helpful demystifying the mystic classes, events, things like that. Actually, I have a class on discovering uh, your soul's journey here on this planet. It seemed pretty like timely to figure out like, okay, why am I here? Somebody tell me why I'm here. So I'm offering a class on that. It's mid-April. It's $33. You can learn about it in my website, susanlynnmedium.com. I'm sure the moderators will put that up. Where is Walls and is he safe? He is safe for the moment. That's what they added. He doesn't care about himself. He cares about his family. And then after that, he cares about his constituents, his people. He's been told to lay low by people that know better. That he really respects this. He respects this, their opinion. Yeah, it's not the time. This isn't the time for him to be very vocal. He might be, but he shouldn't be. Let's put it that way. Because he is like him and Kamala and Obama and Biden and Hillary, those and where they haven't talked a thing about Hunter Biden. All of a sudden they forgot who that was. Hunter who? Right? These people are they're just evil, frankly. But anyway, I would wrap everybody in light, love and light right now for sure. Cuba, I heard a couple of things. I heard you can't get news, really reliable news. But remember how this is what the guides are telling me. Remember how when Greta Thunberg was on that Mercy ship trying to go to Gaza and she got intercepted. And a lot of them got intercepted, and a lot of them were actually beat up and harassed and maybe abused. I don't think people heard about that, but eventually she made her way back to Europe. But the guides are saying there are two boats that were going to Cuba that got intercepted, and nobody knows what happened to them. Nobody knows. I don't think they were big boats, but nobody knows what it's like. They just disappeared. So I do think there's aid that's trying to get to them. I do not think things are good. I still think things are, we won't know until some European foreign journalists can get on the ground, or maybe some other journalists can get on the ground that's not United States. But I don't think it's good, you guys. It doesn't feel good to me. They are a courageous people. They are a strong people. I mean, these people know how to live on next to nothing anyway, but not having power, there seems to be like some health issues. There could be like I think there's an outbreak of, what is that thing called? When you have unsanitary, like you have, the guides want to use the word affluent in the streets, and you can have a breakout of cholera, thank you, and other things like that, different even than cholera. So yeah, typhoid, thank you. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. And they don't have the medical supplies. Before they didn't have the medical supplies. Now they really don't have the medical supplies, and they don't have the power. They have the electricity. So it's yes, all those things. Cholera, sepsis, hep C, dysentery, all of those things. I'm getting chills. I feel like that is running through, and it's sort of like, if you would imagine, the guides are saying living back in even the dark ages before there was hygiene. These people are being forced to live like this, right? It's just, yeah, cruelty is the point. Exactly, Raymond. So just pray for them. I will also say, you all, that this timeline is absolutely insanity. There is no written outcomes. There's none. There's no written outcomes. This is like a war. They win a battle, we win a battle, we win a battle, they win a battle. It's just like that. But I would say, as we get into April and May, the energy just comes together. It all of a sudden, all of the pieces come together on and commit to a timeline. So pretty soon, we're going to have much more certainty in where we're going. And that means for Cuba, and that also means for us and everybody. Um, but right now, just keep everybody in your prayers, right? And Hawaii is still going through it too. Don't forget them. They're still going through storms and flooding. So yeah. Somebody had a question here. I don't think this is going to end with World War III. I will tell you, Show, that's what they want. When you go into their energy, that is what they want. They want World War III. That 100%, that's what they want. But it, I hate to say this, but it doesn't make economic sense for the robber barons. I mean, war is good. Like they make a lot of money, but it doesn't it doesn't meet their objectives, is what the guides just said. So I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. I would have told you guys if I thought that was going to happen. It doesn't mean that there isn't blow up here, blow up there, blow up there, but a world war is a whole different scenario, right? Will US hit Iran's water systems? I feel like we already did. I feel like we already did. The guides are saying we already did. Maybe it's not reported, or maybe we've hit some but not others. But I'll tell you, they want to hit them in a different way, and this is diabolical, and this is for entertainment purposes only. And it's just my opinions, right? There's no facts here, but it feels like we could poison their water. That's what it feels like. That again, cruelty is the point. But I have to say, everything they do, everything we do to them, it could come back to us, right? So let's see what else we have here. Oh, it says 5:30. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm telling you, this has been a rough technological period coming out of Mercury retrograde. I don't know how it says 5:30. I'm sorry about that. Um, Jill, Jill, Jill says, "Well, Rob Sands becomes Iowa's next governor. He's a Democrat." It feels like yes, but we know what happened to Kamala. I mean, her timeline, the timeline was, her destiny was, this is not the right timeline. I'm telling you right now. So I think that I see a timeline where Rob Sands is the governor. I wonder about his health. He could have a health problem. He could leave office early, or he could have a health problem that just beleaguers him, the guides are saying. But I feel like there's a really good chance that he is governor. And it's such a strong chance that I think if something hinky happens, that it gets challenged. But we will see. Sorry about the half hour. I've never done this on the half hour. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. Is Susan Collins getting the boot this November? Susan Collins getting the boot. You guys, do you know how much money is? Maybe you do. I don't. Like I'm just saying, I'm seeing it right now. There is a mega ton of money and support behind her. I mean, she has as much money behind her as Mitch McConnell does. That's surprising to me. Like I'm just getting this right now. So when I say that, let's just say that right now they're going to do everything in their power, including some dirty things like swift boating, to keep her in office. But they just showed me that there could be a scenario where she steps down. Like if she gets in, there's a scenario she steps down, because things are going to get superheated. And some of these people are just going to bow out. They're just going to be like, nope, I'm not doing that. So yeah, I think that, Collins' husband is in business allegedly with Russia. We have to be careful what we say, even though she is a public person. We should be able to say anything about her, but this is not a time to test the law, because the law is there is no law. So yeah, and at some point we're voting, we're doing the thing, and it's just we can't do the thing because it's broken, it's crooked, it's stolen. So yeah. Ooh, will Easter be safe this year? I have some weird feelings about Easter. I think there could be something that happens on Easter. It could be a lone wolf situation again, like one person somewhere. Um, but yeah, there does feel like something could happen around Easter. I mean, it definitely feels like that. Again, it's not 100% because everybody has free will. The person who's going to do the thing might get pulled over by a DUI, or somebody might call the police on him. There's a lot of really good energies trying to stop the bad energies. This isn't just a free for all. I know it feels like it, but there's a lot. Um, Amanda says, Kamala's been on my mind last few days. Is something going on with her? I feel shizzle is going down behind the scenes. I think so. The thing too, when I go into her energy is I don't think she ever suffered fools, honestly. And I think she's at this place where she's culling her inner circle, because we are going into this next thing we're going into. I'm going to talk about it is what do they want to call it? The something era. It's sort of like the hoodwinked apology era, where people say, "Oh, I didn't know that I was involved with this, or I didn't," and I just think a lot of Democrats are going to say, look, we need to make a deal. I've said this for a long time, right? We need to make a deal, and we're dealing with the devil. So we're going to have to do something the devil wants, right? Like, I mean, if you're dealing with the devil, you've got to do something the devil wants. And Kamala's like, we don't have to. We don't have to deal with the devil, right? So I think that what you're feeling too is the fact that she's separating herself from a lot of these establishment Democrats. And that might be a furthering of this rift that I'm seeing in the Democratic Party, where you see people that are going to just really separate themselves from the big pack money, the Israel money, the APAC money, separate themselves from any glimmer of looking like they're in that boat. And that rift is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, or more visible as we get closer to November of this year. So yeah, she's I'm not counting her out. She's not out. She's just creating a new team, or honing her team, as what I would say. My town tried to suppress the No Kings. Lisa Harlow says, my town tried to suppress the No Kings, and we were talking about letting some counties go to Texas. WTF. Letting some counties go to Texas. I don't know what you mean by counties going to Texas. Meaning going to protest in county. I don't know where you are either. Like, are you in Louisiana, or where are you in Oklahoma? Where are you? Right. So, your town. This is interesting, right? Because this is one way that they can suppress this big movement, is to say, we're not giving you a permit. You cannot march. You can't march without a permit. We're not giving you a permit. But I'm going to tell you, Lisa, this is the wrong way for them. I know you know this, but I'm just saying energetically, if they start repressing and suppressing the people's will, because the will is immense. Like, people are ready to do this. Like, they've been waiting since the last one to do this. So if they do this, they're going to find more people will do it regardless of the permit, right? Like, they'll what are you going to do if 5,000 people show up in a small town, right? You're just going to have to let it happen. If 50 people show up, that's one thing. Um, but be careful, because if they don't give you a permit and there's only 20 or 50 of you all, they will put you in jail and they will charge you with federal charges. This is why I keep telling y'all, please be smart. Be smart. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life, for the rest of your life, having federal charges against you for the rest of your life. It's not worth it. We're not at that point yet. We're not at that point yet. So do everything you can to stay within the law, so that if you do get arrested, you can go before the judge and say, I was within my rights. But if you go out there when there's no permit, then you're asking for to be arrested, unless there's thousands and thousands and thousands of you, at which point the police are obviously going to have to look the other way. We just need to be smart about this. I just keep telling you, please be smart. This is in Dearborn. Okay. Or maybe that's a different person. NYT reported that the attack on Ecuador was for drug control. Y'all, I know there's still people who like NYT. I was a huge New York Times fan, and I'm telling you, decades and decades long subscriber. I was a huge New York Times fan, and they're compromised. They're compromised. They give you just enough stories that are true so that it messes your mind up. So you're like, what? They got to be right, because they wouldn't cover this. But the guides would bring you Exhibit A, which is Fox News, which is how they have one poor woman that gets to argue the liberal side, and then all these other people who get to call her crazy. But they do have the one woman that gets to argue the liberal side, because that kind of push and pull, that's what makes people believe it's real. Even within the MAGAs, they're going to have push and pull to keep people believing that it's real. If they just tell you everything you want to hear, you start to think that this isn't real. But when they report things you don't like, they report things you do like, you start to think it's fair and balanced, until you look at all of the reporting and you realize this is not fair and balanced, right? So no, the attack on Ecuador was not for drug control. It was not. That is what I get. I've gotten that before as well. So yeah, I have no good things to say about the New York Times. I'm sorry to say it. Look up Matt Taibbi, like Taibi. Excellent writer. I'm telling you, I love a good written story. Like, one that's 10 pages long and so well written. You just love it, right? Big fan of Matt Taibbi. And then you find out he starts talking bad about Biden. And then you find out that he was in Russia before he went to work for the New York Times. Dude was in Russia. It's not, I'm sorry. That's just my take. I have friends that love the New York Times. I do not. Yeah, so we just have to also kind of, I guess, take everything with a grain of salt. Jeannie says, I'm confused. Keg's breath and Narco Rubio aliens, or do they see aliens? They see aliens. They see them. And they're trying to tell us that, hey, it's disclosure. The aliens are here, and they're attacking us because they're attacking Narco and Heg's breath. And nobody believes them. And I just think that's diabolically ironic, personally. Really. When will the love take over? Well, I mean, in some ways, Alex, it's now, right? In some ways, it's now, because they're showing me Minneapolis, where people are taking food to people that cannot leave their house, people who are gathering medicines and taking it to them. That's love, right? People that are volunteering, I know everywhere people are helping people, so that the love is here. The protest is about love, right? We wouldn't be out there risking the things that we're risking if it wasn't for love. So I know it doesn't look like love. I mean, I get it, but this is what the guides are saying. So the love is here. I think maybe, and your question is, when will we have more love than hate? And I think this is something we've been struggling with for our entire existence, really. But the guides are bringing me to hate Ashbury, to the '60s, to the make love not war, right? So we had that once. Then we went into the corporate '80s. Remember the IBM '80s when all the guys dressed alike? You had to wear the IBM suit. So we kind of do this kind of flipping flopping back and forth, right? But I think we are going more into love. I don't think people recognize it as that. They might call it survival, but I would call it love. If I'm growing a vegetable and I'm sharing it with my neighbor who's housebound because they're older and they can't get out of the house, then that's love. But some people might say it's terrible, we're having to survive like this. So it's really about how the perspective, right? It's the perspective. But I think that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, bring water, Seascape says. And there's a reason I said water earlier. I mean, I wouldn't say water so I think we do need water. I think it's going to be sunny and warm for a lot of or at least sunny for a lot of the country. Um, right now, LA, I like the Atlantic, but the guides are saying there are some problematic. I mean, the problem is all these things are owned by the same 3 or 4 people. So that makes it problematic. But I like the Atlantic, but the guides are telling me there's some problematic people there. One of my favorite ones is ProPublica, 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 because they're independent and they're the ones that broke the Justice Thomas vacation scandal. Also, the guides are saying to me, I saw this on social media today, that Al Jazeera is one that we all look to because they have been very fair in the reporting, and there's new reporting that that the reporters have been asked to not cover, let's say, the bases being bombed or different things. This is also because it's starting to make Saudi Arabia and those countries look bad, because our bases were on those countries' lands. So just overall, the media is something that we are going to have to use a lot of discernment about, and just source and resource and check and double check. Just because somebody was trustworthy at one point, they may not be on a different topic. Because one thing that I found is some of these people are paid for certain topics. Like, so they'll talk about one thing and just really tear it up, right? And you're thinking, yeah, that's right. But then this other topic, they're paid to not say anything and they never mention it. And you start to wonder, I wonder why they're not talking about that. That's such a big thing. Why aren't they covering that? Pay attention to what they don't cover, because that'll tell you a lot about who's paying them. They can be rah, rah, rah on a lot of things, but there's big gaps in their coverage. That would tell you that they're afraid to cover it, or they're being paid not to cover it. Sorry, guys, the spring has sprung and my allergies are, they're here now. They're like, hey, Susan, we're awake. Oh, I guess I should talk about that too. Let's see. Well, so the question is, why did Fetterman start supporting the Republicans? So, first of all, if you remember, Fetterman was always a wild card, right? I mean, this is the guy who wore a hoodie. He was never going to march to the beat of all of the Democrats. He was never going to do that. Number one. Number two, his wife has some citizenship issues. I don't know what they are, but they're the guides are saying she has a vulnerable citizenship status that under normal situations would not be vulnerable, but it is vulnerable. Rumors have it, allegedly, that they were going to deport her. They were going to deport her, so he had to Yeah, he got blackmailed basically. He had to do it allegedly. So, and then thirdly, I think that the stroke did affect his ability to kind of like his patience or his filter, like the filter is gone. So there's a lot of reasons, but I think the most important reason is the fact that and they're not kidding, they will absolutely deport his wife and his kids. um so yeah. Talon, I got y'all worked up on these aliens. I don't know that they're attacking. Okay, so when I say attacking, Rubio and Heggsbreast say they're being attacked. I don't know that that's the case. I think these people are incredibly weenies. They're weenies, right? So they feel like they're being attacked. But I mean, I think that anybody that's had, an experience with aliens, it's frightening. It can be very frightening. So I don't know that they're being attacked. I think that they're being contacted, and they're thinking, this is a great distraction. Let's get on the horn and but the people, Americans are like, we don't believe you. We don't. This is also true for the false flag. Anything that happens in America, a very good portion of us are not going to believe anything they tell us. We're just not going to believe them. They're not believable, right? So they're going to have a hard time trying to get us to believe their BS, whatever BS they're trying to sell us. Um, oof. Oh, what about the Pope? Not sure what you mean. What about the Pope? Like, is he safe or the Vatican? They just said the Vatican. I don't know what that means. I think he's safe in the Vatican. I think you're picking up on something, Rosie B, to Rosie B. I think you're psychic, dear. So I mean, look, what the guides just told me was, this is not going to sound great, but they just said it doesn't matter, right? Like he's done his job. He's really done his job. He got to be the Pope, and he got to express the will of, I just want to say, Jesus, and and correct some. He's made big strides in correcting things. He's changed the course of the Catholic Church. That's what I just heard. So, and also, if you're a very faithful person, or you're not afraid of dying. It's like, fine, whatever. I'll just go where I'm going, right? So he's not worried about it. But I would say that the guides always use this word palace intrigue. Now you have to remember, my guides are freaking old, like seriously old. And palace intrigue always means that there's whispers among the people in the palace, that there could be backstabbing, that there's uh, something afoot, plots afoot, ploys afoot, something like that. So I think there is energy in the Vatican to remove him in some way, but it does not remove who it would make him a saint. He would actually go into sainthood very quickly. So I don't know if that answers your question. I would just say that if something happens to him, it doesn't mean that all hell's going to break loose. It just means that bad people want good people to disappear. And the problem is, there's too many more of us. And they're learning that when they get rid of one, 20 more pop up, right? So he's a good guy. It's very surprising that we have Pope Leo, honestly. That's a bright spot, right? And I'm not a religious person. I'm not Catholic. I'm not religious. But I think that he's a much needed person to be in there. Well, don't think I personally don't think Listen, this guy knows he was a cardinal. He knows a lot of stuff. Now he's the Pope. He knows a lot of stuff. But he's smart enough to not mess with things like Opus Dei or other things that would shorten his time. Okay? His vision is to help poor people. His vision is to help regular people. So in that way, he's going to focus on his mission. He's not going to look what's going on over here, right? And then it's kind of like you do what you're doing, we'll do what we're doing, and don't, because if he did get into Opus Dei, he would definitely disappear. He would cross over. So um I think for him, he's thinking, oh, okay, there's this cabal that runs a lot of the world, or I can speak to millions of poor people, millions and millions and millions of poor people, and give them succor and give them love and give them hope. To him, it's way worth being that for them and just letting this cabal do its thing. You know, that's what I'm getting. Maybe I'm wrong, right? That's what I'm getting. Um, so yeah. Oh my God. Say what? Did Tucker get attacked by demons in his bed? We can only hope. I would have actually pitched in. I would have pitched in for that. Let's ask. I mean, it's complicated. It's a complicated thing they just told me. First of all, he is sensationalist, right? Meaning this this is going to get eyeballs. That he's trying to get his podcast or whatever it is. I mean, that's how he makes his money. So number one, it's sensationalist. But number two, it's interesting that Tucker is coming up as getting demons in his bed, and Rubio and Hexbreath are coming up as having a. So it's interesting to me that these people are having, these experiences. So I do think that Tucker had some experiences. There apparently there are some entities that are, the guides are saying that movie Ghost of Christmas Past. What was that? It's not It's a Wonderful Life. That's a different movie, right? Um, it's Dickens, isn't it Dickens? So like that, they're kind of having that. They're kind of having that. I think they're having this visitation of their own horrors coming back to visit them. Whether it's an old story, look, the story that I told you about the aliens, that's just a vision that I saw. So I'm just saying energetically, they really are getting their the Christmas Carol. Okay. They really are getting their own horrors visited back on them. Right. Hell is empty and all the devils are here by Shakespeare. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I love that for them. I absolutely love that for them. I think he does get visited. Yeah. Yeah, he told that story after he rebranded. And I talked to you guys about people rebranding. We're just seeing the beginning of that. This You haven't even seen nothing yet. These people are gonna literally change the color of their clothes and come out and be whole new people. Um, Yeah, we talked about Iran hacking Patel's emails a little earlier. You can watch from the beginning, and I um, talk about that. Let's see what else. I mean, they kind of deserve it. Why did Iran? Why did Iran seem to target something first? But I don't know who you're talking about first. Um, I don't know. Are you talking about TRUM or I'm not sure. Are you talking about TRUMP? I'm not sure who you're talking about, Amanda. Who Iran targeted. I don't watch a lot of news. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. So you might have to be a little bit more specific. And I know we can't say some certain words and that kind of thing, but I can't. I can't even figure out what that. It's like Wordle. I can't figure it out. I give up. Um, let's see. Yeah, Tucker attracts demons anyway. For real, they feed off of him. That's true. It's it's that fear mongering energy is your candy to them, right? So yeah, absolutely. Facing their own demons. Yeah, I think they really are taunted by their own demons. I do think that totally. Well, we talked about this earlier too about drawing with fire says, "Hi Susan, can you see the reason why some of the Russian Dumas were at the Capitol in DC?" Oh, for the love of God. Gets worse and worse every day. Um thought that was drones. You're talking about Dumas, Russian Dumas. I don't know what a Duma is, but I'm going to tell you that I heard making a deal. A deal was made. That's all I know. They made a deal. Sealing a deal. Not only making a deal, but sealing the deal. Like the final negotiation. The deal was sealed. And I think that was over land and money and I don't know what else that is. Something else that has value. Something that had like a land and money, but I'm seeing a paper that represents something like a promissory note, but it's not for money. It's for something else, like minerals or ownership of something that you can't bring with you, right? So you just have to say, here is the promissory note that says that you'll get these things. Up to no good, though. I will say that. Absolutely up to no good. Yeah, Joe Rogan is another one who's really changing his stripes. MTG too, and Tucker to a degree. Joe Rogan is changing his image. He's rebranding. He's trying to get in 60 Minutes or something like that. Yeah, he's still you're right. He's still a dick. Absolutely. I did talk about the UFO missing general earlier and Cash Patel earlier. Um, I think they're going to fund TSA, but TSA is unionized. I mean, I guess some people don't have to be members, but overall, it's a union, and they're in negotiations. Oh, hey, Anita, they're in negotiations right now. But I feel like he doesn't give money for free, right? So it would be like, well, I'll pay you, and you can get these paychecks, but we're going to expect you to capitulate on these union things. And that's like kicking somebody when they're down, right? They haven't been paid in a long time, and now you will pay you, but we're going to expect you to roll over basically. So the question is really, will the TSA look, people have to pay their bills, people have to pay their bills. So I think that the guides just show me splitting. So it's gonna split the members of the union because some of the union members are gonna be like, we can't. It's just like when you have to make that decision. Are you gonna be a scab? Are you gonna go back to work because you need the money? Right? There's always ways to split unions. So to me, this feels like a way to split the union, to convince some people that they can make extra money and their money back if they just take this deal. But we know that he never even pays people the money that he says, even government workers. He doesn't pay them the money that he promises to pay them. So it's a horrible situation, really. Um, what do I say about this? I followed Constantin from the very beginning. I mean, from the beginning. The beginning, okay, of his channel. And I watched it. Let me tell you something. That guy, I'm not trying to say he's wrong, you're wrong. I'm just going to bring up something for you to consider. People that do a lot less fall out of windows in Russia. And yet this guy is able to talk bad about Russia. When he was still living there, he was able to go into the grocery stores and film the grocery stores, and he works for an electric company. He's got kids that live in the United States. He's got an ex-wife that lives here. Um, I just don't trust him because there's no way that he could speak so freely if he was not monitored by Russia. There's just no way. He would already be gone, honestly. So anyway, having said that, the fact that he is saying Putin is no longer in office, the thing that you also have to know about Putin is that he has done this many times where he's faked his own death just to figure out who was on his side and who wasn't, right? And then he gets rid of the ones that were celebrating or trying to take his power. Um, so Putin is impossible to he's the original OG. CIA uses all the cryptic, psychic, remote viewing techniques that we don't even we have no idea about the things these people can do because they put money, time, and effort into it as if it was their own military. So you have to be a little careful with Konstantin. Um, that's the guy that's the real beefy guy with the dark hair, right? The guy that I mean, I don't know how much you know about him, but anyway. But I can say also, and this is the thing, so many people are like, okay, I trust this part, but what about that part? So it's always about like trying to figure out, like, is this person really 100% true, or is he producing, propagandas could be 80% true and 20% false. So there's just things to consider there. Now, when I go into Putin's energy, and I try not to go too deeply because I've told you guys many times that he has protection that will come after you. And you want to talk about these, like Tucker and Rubio and all these people having night terrors. This is part of the thing. This is what they do. It's called a psychic attack, and it really is real. So, you're asking, but is he really in Russia? And a sense, and since it doesn't, the guides are saying, does it matter where he's at, right? Like, does it matter where he's at? Um, if he's still giving orders, then it doesn't necessarily matter. I don't know that he's in Russia. Where's Kaliningrad? Where's Kaliningrad? I don't know that if that's where he's at, but I think that's in Russia. The question is he still active and pulling the strings? I think. And I think he is. I think he is active and pulling the strings. But I've seen him sick for so long, and I don't know how how these people are staying alive, but they are. Kaliningrad is near Stalingrad. Okay, well, that makes sense. I don't think, well, yeah, never mind. I just corrected myself, Lori. Lori asked, are they possessed to agree? I mean, people have attachments. So yeah, I think they are possessed to a degree. And I think they want to be. So that's the other thing. Like, if you worship the dark, then the dark is going to influence you, right? Like, I mean, come on. So yeah, I think they are possessed to a degree, 100%. Oh, it's near Poland. Well, that's not great. Makes sense to me though. Because they could be trying to smuggle him out. Because the thing that's happening right now is, like we talked about the Pope and the palace intrigue, and then there's enemy, there knives out. The guides are saying knives out, which means that your friends might not be your friends. They might turn on you. There's people that could be turning on Putin, people that could be turning on 47, people that could be turning on Netanyahu. I don't think it's a good time right now because when, thieves have no honor, there's no honors among thieves, right? So you have to be careful. It's in a blast region between Poland and Lithuania by the Baltic Sea. I feel like that is to me, that feels like a place that you go to be smuggled out. It's like a escape route to me. It's not deep in the mountains where you can't get out, but you might be safe, like a bunker, but the energy feels like they need to smuggle him out. I'm also seeing Chile. He might be going down to South America or something like that. Um, yeah. So that's what I mean. The knives out. None of these people are safe, really, because they're surrounded by people that are criminals, right? And in the end, criminal's going to take over your power. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the guy, inside Russia guy fled to Kazakhstan. That's Konstantin, right? That's the same guy, isn't it? Oblast region, right? Got it. Oblast is the state. Nano's trying to come through the crown. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, Carrie in are you talking about Canada? Yes, you guys did well on that. Um Lurkling says Kaliningrad is completely surrounded by NATO and fencing blockade Russia's only port. It's still a port. I'm telling you, sometimes you hide your most valuable thing in the least likely space, is what the guides just said. And if something really went south, he could even give himself up to Poland. He would be safer. There's a timeline where he could be safer in Poland's hands than in Russians' hands. Okay? There's a reason that he's there. I'm telling you, there's a reason. Is King Charles stepping down? I've always seen him stepping down. I've always seen him being a very short king, maybe not the shortest, but a very short tenure for a lot of reasons. For one reason, the same energy that's impacting us is impacting the whole world, and that is the youth. The youth want more representation. They don't feel represented, and the monarchy is in shambles, is what the guides just said. Okay, now if you're a big monarchy fan, don't come from me. This is my spirit guides. Call them 1-800 spirit guides. Press 1 for complaints. The monarchy is stressed, and in it's vulnerable. And so they need a brand, they need a rebrand. Everybody needs a rebrand. This is a 1 year, number 1 year. So this is, all of us are going to do something new anyway. So bringing the younger royal up would give them a rebrand. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Charles is more, he's a product of his mother. He's more steeped in the traditions than his son. I just energetically, I'm just saying. Now, of course, young people want, no, they want, less, they just want to really change it. But I'm just saying, I guess what I would say is, I'm not sure his son is going to be a good steward. But I saw a while back a situation where the two brothers would get back together, maybe not huggy kissy, but they would come back to the palace together to do something, to address something, because they needed to be together. I don't know why, but that could be around Charles stepping down, or it could be around some other. There could be some more scandals coming out too. Yeah, that's true. Argentina is a place they all. Yeah, we talked about no kings. It is tomorrow. Be safe. Um, be really safe. Use your intuition. Okay. I usually do go on a little longer. Um, right, that Jim Carrey clone. What? Right, what the heck? I have a picture where his neck, like, y'all, it's doing something that your neck can't do. It's not. I was a photographer for 22 years. I use Photoshop every single day, and it was just either somebody was wearing a mask that was meant to be under the collar and it wasn't, or they retouched something horribly went wrong. Um, but that kind of fakery is what we're going to see more of. We're going to see more of that. We saw it with Princess Kate. I've talked about that a lot. Um, when she disappeared and they had to make somebody show up, right? They used AI. We've seen it just recently with Netanyahu with six fingers, and then he came out in another AI video and had the audacity to say, look, five fingers, but his hand was missing. It was like, oh my god, there was like a piece of his hand missing. Oh my god, these people, we have to be more discerning, right? But at the same time, I guess we can't give up hope that there are real people out there. Um, okay, look, disagree with me. I don't care. That's fine. We disagree. No problem. I've told you guys 1,000 times. Maybe I'm wrong. My guides said the whole word in my head, Kalingard, Kaliningrad. I don't even know what that is, right? I'm just passing it along to you guys. Believe me or don't. This is what we're talking about, discernment, right? I'm not up here telling you that you need to believe everything I say. So you just go on and do you. That's perfectly fine. It's all good. So let's see what else is happening here. Yeah, it is crazy right now. There's some back and forth about it's kind of sad, but there's a lot of back and forth from people about whether we really are insolvent or whether the Treasury really said we're insolvent. The bottom line is we are insolvent. It's just that technically you can't say we are, but we are. We don't we're not bringing enough money to pay our bills. So I think you're right. I think we are insolvent, but I think that is a technical term, and until we meet the actual technical tenets of it, you can't really say it per se. But things are bad. This is a bad situation for sure, and we are in the middle of it. And I want to talk just briefly in a minute about how what I think is happening next. I do think Guthrie has crossed over, Kathy, like you say. I do think she has. I saw her daughter come out on social media and ask for people to get involved and to share tips, but I do think I think it's I mean, tips are fine because actually finding her remains would be important, actually, very important for closure. I may be wrong, but I don't think she's of the living, unfortunately. Yeah, the monarchy is going to remodel, right? And another person says the monarchy is a farce. So yeah, this is the monarchy's problem right here. Some people love it, some people hate it, and you know what's going to be the pressure is the same pressure we have, which is Iran is now closed the Strait of Hormuz, and everybody's goods are going to go up, become more expensive. So it's not just us, it's going to be Britain, it's going to be all the countries. And so when your prices are going up, you start looking at your leadership, you start looking at the people who are making the decisions. And I think they're going to scrutinize the monarchy. They're going to really scrutinize it because I think that what I'm just seeing now is Britain is going to go through some real hardships. We are too. Um, but there's going to be some real I don't know what that word is. They were using this before. um it basically means hardship, but yeah, some financial hardships. And then on top of that, you guys, the guides reminded me, they have to spend more money on defense. They don't have the money to take care of their people, but yet we're out, we're gone. The main country that was going to defend you is out. Especially now our bases are blown up. we're out. Don't count on us. So now Europe, and I mean Europe and a lot of other countries are going to have to spend money on defense, money they don't have. So you're going to have people looking at the monarchy pretty skeptically, going, you guys have all this entitlement. You've got all this land, and look, something needs to happen. And the guides just told me that people are going to be looking at the Catholic Church like that as well, because the Catholic Church is one of the biggest landowners. So we're going to be looking at these institutions and saying, what have you done for me lately? What are you doing for me? I want to see it. Are you opening up places to feed people? Are you opening up shelters? What are you doing for me? That's what you're going to start hearing people say across the world. And it's going to get loud, really. Let's see what. Oh, I did Jim Carrey. I don't think. Wait a minute. No, they said he's alive, but they're making my ears burn. I think he's alive, but I think he's just like Princess Kate, who disappeared. We still don't know why for all those months and months and months. I think that he has some real health issues or something, allegedly. I'm not sure, but he's missing in action. And this is the problem. These people who forgot we exist, who think we're just stupid, think that they can just throw some AI slop up and we're going to believe it. We don't. We're smarter than they think we are. They're not plugged into who we are, and they're just proving how unplugged and disassociated they are from regular people, and they're looking like idiots, honestly. Well, I started to touch on this a little bit. You're talking about Prince William and Catherine, Princess Kate. I don't know, you all. There were some rumors around when she disappeared that he was perhaps had an anger issue, a temper issue, and I see that with him. I don't know. I'm just going to say that I'm not a big fan of Prince Charles. I'm not, for whatever reason. I mean, I don't hate him, but I'm just not like a fan. I think William has got some issues. I think he's got some issues that are covered up, like they do for the royals, right? So maybe that's why his brother flies in to help. I'm just saying that I think he's got, I don't know if it's bipolar. I don't know what it is, but he has these mood swings, right? Like he can show up, he can be level-headed, he can be the leader, but then he has these times where he's off, where he's just literally off kilter, just really, really off. That's just me, right? Maybe I'm wrong. That's just what I get. Harry would make a great king. And the way things are going right now, anything is possible. I swear to God, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And it's always the one that doesn't want it, right? It's always the one who doesn't want it who's the one that would be the best one. Okay, here's a good one, JC. I've said it a few times. I haven't said it very much, but I've always said that Biden, when he walked on the stage, you can see it if you watch that video again. He walks on the stage and he gets hit right in the chest. You can see it. He's just like, and then he's just like out of it. And now, fast forward to just recently when they started leaking that they found this pocket device. You could put it in your pocket that was actually similar to the Havana syndrome, but you could just put it in your pocket and direct it at people. So that was just a year ago that happened, or, a year and a half ago. 2 years maybe that happened, and now they're saying there's a pocketable device that does that. Yes, I do think that he was compromised, that something hit, some electromagnetic pulse, the guides are saying, hit him in his chest. But, could he say that? Could anybody say that? Could I even say that without y'all telling me or people telling me that I was crazy? No, we could not say that. So, what are you going to do, right? You have to take your lumps, I think. And that's what he did. Well, I'm glad it was just a stunt for Jim Carrey. That's great. That I'm sure that helped him a lot. I think it backfired if that was the case. Yes, America does need a rebrand. We really do. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Eagle Heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Um, let's see what else you guys are talking about over here. Yes, Sasha Riley is a legit victim. He's a legit victim, 100%. Now, is he going to? I don't think he's going to turn into a Michael Cohen at all, but I think that he's a complicated person. Anybody that has his history, then joins the military, then goes to the military and comes out is going to have a very complicated history, a very complicated personality, okay? But when I go into his energy, he's a legit victim. I he just is, right? And actually I'll back that up by saying that he's gone on to social media and he's given all of us strangers specific details with phone numbers, and people on social media have called these detectives and corroborated a lot of what he said. The thing that's interesting about the Democrats or the liberals is that we do our work. We research you. We look up what you're saying to make sure we just don't believe it, right? We actually research it. So a lot of people have researched him, and he's legit. But I do think that there is some weird thing that he could do that people are like, "What?" And I'm just going to tell you that he's just a complicated person, that he's been through a lot. That's what I would say. Um, yeah. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of the Jim Carrey thing, really. I'm just saying that if you put Jim Carrey where they're trying to cover up something, you can understand how they're trying to cover up Netanyahu. You can understand how they would have a fake Putin. You can understand how they would have a fake Melania. And there's still people out there that say that they don't believe that there are fake body doubles, when in reality, this is a very common thing. And it's been discussed in CIA manuals that have been, opened up to the public. I'm just saying this Jim Carrey thing is just interesting to me from that perspective, from the perspective that they thought they could just pull one over us, and then if it really was a joke, Jim Carrey is smart enough to have pulled it all the way off, to have then come out and said, "Aha," but there was no reveal. There was no, aha, I had y'all. No, there was none of that. So to me, it fell flat. And I don't feel like I don't feel like it really went off. I just think that it was a Hollywood stunt. But I think that it tracks with all these other things where they are trying to treat us like we don't understand technology, or we're not aware of what is AI and what isn't. And I think it's interesting because we're realizing we're much better at discernment than we thought, and we're certainly much better than they thought. So I think that's what I would say about it. I don't think I don't feel that Jim Carrey is dead. I just think that this was a very weird there was some weird energy there. I will say that. Um Texas Possum? Oh, there's a possum. Said, "How do I feel about grid failures from cyber attacks?" You mean hacking attacks? I think that it's going to happen. I don't know how many. I keep getting. I think this is the second or third time I've gotten this, but there could be a situation around a dam. So, like everything is computerized. So if that computer gets hacked, then that's a problem, right? So yeah, that's to me, this is the way they will do it. They won't do it with drones. They won't do it with bombs. They'll do it with numbers and zeros, hackiness. Yeah. And that's why we say just, you know, have a little extra food, a little extra water, because if your electricity goes out for a few days, you're able to figure out something, right? And those people who say, "Well, I'm a shut-in, I live alone and I don't have anything." This is a good time to call your city, to call your town hall, to put your name on some kind of list. I mean, when you live in areas where they have hurricanes or tornadoes, you should do the same thing. You should call your local city hall and say, I want somebody to know that I'm here so that somebody can come get me. Okay. So make yourself known, advocate for yourself. Don't just sit there and say, well, nobody wants to help me. Nobody is going to help me. You have to make yourself known and then make them help you. Right. So there's also that as well. And run through things with your kids. Please run through things with your kids or your grandkids. You don't even have to tell them what you're doing. You can just say that, let's pretend that we don't have any electricity. Maybe it's a nice day out, and let's just make tent forts and make it a fun game. So then when something does happen, they just remember it being a game, right? And you have flashlights, and there's no reason why you can't have drills, right? Because even if it's not a cyber attack, it could be a tree fell on the line. It could be that the power's out for some other reason, right? So these are the guides keep saying prepare for the nature, for Mother Nature, just as much as prepare for a cyber attack. It's all kind of similar in the outcome of it. We all want affordable, this is so true, right? We all want affordable life, healthcare, and housing. And and safe, not even affordable, but also, like safe, right? So we have to just keep talking about it, because I do think that the prices or the cost are going to change, and how we live is going to change. Like maybe there was a time when we had 5-bedroom houses, and now we're going to go back into a time where we're in 2-bedroom houses, even though there's 4 of us. you know, Other countries live much differently. They live in much smaller footprints. And I think that we can learn from that. And I think that we will move towards that. You may even have a situation where you have a house and you start renting out rooms to people that are older on Social Security. For one thing, to help pay your mortgage, but for another thing, because you know they can help you, you can help them. Again, it's that sense of community again. Japan keeps selling our bonds. We'll go broke as a nation. We're already broke, Kathy. We're already pretty broke. Um, this is no joke. The Japan is selling our bonds. I mean, they're junk. The guides are called our bonds junk bonds. That's what the guides just said. Our bonds are junk bonds. It's not pretty. It's embarrassing. I talked about this earlier. We have American exceptionalism, right? We've never been embarrassed. We've never been embarrassed, but now we're starting to be really embarrassed. We're going to be the ones with our hands out saying, "Can somebody send some aid?" Right? That's going to be a real awakening for Americans. So, I think we are broke. The guides have been saying for a long time, and I guess now it's starting to make sense. We are Enron. If you don't know what Enron was, right? Huge Ponzi scheme. It was a big, huge, huge corporation that was basically a Ponzi scheme. And it went down, and so did in 2008 the whole housing market. Everything crashed at the same time. This is very similar energy to me, except for that it's not the same in the sense that I don't see this crash. Instead, I see stagflation. So I see this grinding, sort of high prices that won't come down. It's just like we have to just kind of gut it out. You know what I mean? It's this feeling of it's not it's not the bottom, but it's not great. And it's just kind of this grinding it out of this just kind of, kind of a low energy thing. But, you know, it's I don't think we're going to be broke. I don't think it's going to get to that place where we're in the depression. I just think it's going to be uncomfortable, right? That's what I think. But maybe I'm wrong, right? Will Trump get rid of the FDIC? Oops. I don't think so. I think he wants to get rid of the guy that's running the FDIC. If he can control the FDIC, he's okay with it. If he can control it, he has no problems. There's other things that he wants to do. And let me just say this too, because we're going to wrap this up shortly. Okay, let's talk about this. The guides were saying that it's time. I mean, and time has no meaning for them, but they said it's time. It's coming time where 45 goes. Now, I think there's multiple timelines, but I think the timeline, I mean, he could still cross over, but it feels to me like there could be a different ending for him, one in which he is incarcerated, or as I've always seen in like the memory care ward, right? Like he is incarcerated, but he doesn't know that. It doesn't look like a jail because he's too high value of a person to put in any kind of normal jail or prison. So he would have to be in a standalone, very, concrete, cannot get cell service. I'm talking about under the jail kind of situation. I feel like that's where this energy wants to go. Now, that lead how that could play out is, again, the guides have been saying this for a long time, that a deal is struck with the Democrats. Now, I do think that we're coming close to this period where there could be a false flag or an attempt on a false flag. And I think that's it. This is where we are. 11th hour negotiations. And I also think that if there is a false flag, it's going to immediately be deemed as a false flag. And I think that's going to fast forward everything that we're seeing, the takedown of him. Everything is going to happen very quickly if that happens. But then we have Vance. Okay, now, and not only do we have Vance, but I was seeing, and I talked about this with Kevin when I was on his channel, Kevin Loving Vibration, when I was on his channel on Wednesday. And he pulled cards, and the cards support this. Jeffries is getting a promotion. It could be to Speaker of the House. I don't know, but he has more. They're giving him more power, let's just say. This is part of the thing. And I've always told you guys, I feel like this is not the best thing because then Jeffries is responsible, right? Then now we got a Democrat that's responsible for fixing this, but we don't have really the margins in the Congress to fix it. So he just becomes the guy holding the bag. I've said this for a year, but this is where we are. And I think this is what I feel like is going to happen. And then we have Vance, and then we have Jeffries, and that's just not even a conclusion. That's not even a solution, right? That's not a solution. So he is not the one, but the powers that be are choosing him. Again, we talked about how the powers that be don't know who the American people are. They don't understand us. They don't believe that we are thinkers or aware, sentient, you know? So anyway, yes, I agree with everything you all are saying about Jeffries. I have said this from the very beginning. I'm not happy about this deal. I've talked about it for at least a year. So anyway, the good news is that it's a change of energy, and that gives us a new opportunity to try new strategies, to react in new ways. And 45 is pretty hard to beat for a lot of reasons that are not clear. Vance is not that way. Vance is much more mortal. He's much more vulnerable. So, but I do think this is happening. It feels to me like it is happening. Will there be a baby this year for Vance? I don't understand that baby, y'all. I do not. Something is, I was thinking about it today, but I don't really want to go that deep in it because it's not pretty. It's murky and nasty energy. But y'all, there's something up with that baby. I'm just going to tell you right now. I've said this for a long time. I've said it since she said she was pregnant. That baby going to come out blonde headed. Telling you, because they need some kind of miracle, and they're going to call it a miracle baby. I'd be surprised if it didn't happen. I don't know what to say about that baby. I don't know what to say about his kids. I feel sorry for his kids. Honestly, I really do, because they seem normal. Not like Barron seems not normal. Um, Something weird is going to happen with that baby. I'm telling you. If she has it, there's just something weird. When they believe in a lot of, allegedly, a lot of bioengineering, if you look at Elon with all his babies and how he had them artificially inseminated, and then they tried to ban artificial insemination because they want to control it. They want to make the magic babies. They want to dial in exactly the eugenics that they want. They don't want anybody else to do that. That's got to be a royalty thing, right? So you can see that how yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey Clarence, good to see you. Um yeah, I mean, I don't, how could it be Erica? See, yes. Oh my God. I mean, it could be Erica's baby because Usha could be the freaking, I don't know, y'all. I don't know if I can do this timeline. This is insane. Usha could be the carrier of the surrogate. Anyway, I don't know. I'm telling you something's weird. I'm telling you something's weird. Something's so weird about it. I don't know. I try not to think about it. Truly, I really do. I know exactly. Oh my God, exactly. That was me. Uh and then you have this random comment. Cans of sterno, not stereo. Talon, are you getting prepared? Can Cans of stereo. Erica is into women. Candy the Brave. How dare you say that? Oh my God. Oh, Erica is one of the most evil women I have ever put my eyes on. Oh my God. Well, we don't need her on that team. I'm going to tell you right now. My God. My God. My God, y'all. Okay. Oh, that's crazy. It's all crazy. Yeah, going down the rabbit hole tonight. Yep, we're going down the rabbit hole tonight. Aliens and Erica with 3Ks, Usha's baby. Um, what else is next? Anything is possible. Anything is possible, y'all. Let's take this and I might just sign off. Do your guides know when we will be out of the hard times and things improve in the US? Yes. Okay. The guides have always said for a long time now that the patient would be in a medical coma. I don't know if you guys remember that, but medically induced coma. What they mean is we need a pause. We just need a pause when we don't have a madman in office doing madman things. We need a time where we can assess. You know what I mean? Like you assess the damage. That's what we need. I feel like that's what we're going to have after June or July. More into the last half of the year is going to be a time where we assess the damage, where we decide how much money is left, how much money is still in Fort Knox, how much money is left in our treasury. What parts of our government are Swiss cheese that Doge has just taken away all the data. We need to do a really good assessment of where we are. And I feel like to do that, we do have to sort of lock some things down, right? Like when you're counting inventory, you can't be selling things because you're not going to get a good count. So I feel like there could be a time where, especially in the late part of the year, like between July and the end of the year, where things are not getting progressively worse. They're not getting progressively better, but they're just sort of flatlined so that we can just take a breath and see what the damage has been done. Now, that's a really important thing that has to happen. You really want to do the assessment before you start rebuilding because you don't know what's missing. Like when you get robbed, you need to do an assessment. What am I missing? Right? That's going to be us. Then I feel like the midterms are going to be kind of weird. I think they're going to be okay, but I think I've said this before. They're telling me I've said this before. I just see chaos. Too many people trying to vote, not enough polling places, confusion about where the polling places have moved, or confusion about the ballot, or the confusion about your ID, just confusion. This is not going to make people happy. And I'm telling you, all summer long, people are going to be unhappy. All summer long, people are going to be protesting. People are going to be protesting on Tuesday, on Saturday. They're going to be protesting Sunday morning. They're going to be protesting all the time. So by the time we get to the elections, people already don't like the government, don't believe the government, wouldn't believe anything you told them, have distrust of everything. So then they get to the election and all these shenanigans are going on. That makes them even more unhappy. Then you have more unrest. Now, this could play out greater or lesser than what I'm seeing, right? Because depending on how fast we get to a place where we start calming everybody down, even if it's not great, we're all accounted for. Okay. So then I feel like this capitulation, this deal with the Democrats basically says that a lot of what did I say? I said we were going to get 50% better than we are now. 50% better. That's going to feel like a lot. It's not 100% better, but it's 50% better. And then maybe by the end of the year and the next year, we get maybe to 60% better. So we start getting better, but it's not an overnight thing. It's not a snap. We went back to where we were. We can't go back to where we were because the money's missing, and we need to have tribunals, and we need to have, remember, my God, how long did it take us to get the Jan 6 commission? It took a long time to even convene that, and then a long time of that being convened. So it's a process. But I do think that the process is important, and I think it's important that we take it seriously, and I think it's important that we understand that it's going to be slow, and I think it's important that we understand that we're moving towards justice. And I think it's important that we continue telling them, these are the 5 things that I want, right? I want justice. I want to make sure that presidents have to give their tax returns for 5 or 10 years. I want presidents to pass a background check. And it's non-negotiable. I want presidents to have a complete and health physical by a third party, by 2 complete different doctors, maybe one doctor that the opposition party picks. Think about that, right? So we need to start thinking now about the things we want so that when we're in that place where we really are in a place where we're like, okay, how do we not make this ever happen again? Well, you better believe that those government, those paid shills, those PACs, those political PACs are going to be ready. They're going to have their sheet of paper and they're going to have 10 things that you love. And you're going to be like, yeah, that's it. That's perfect. But they left off the 5 things pointedly that you also loved. But you forgot about those 5 things because you're seeing the 10 things and you're thinking, hey, that's good. Let's do that. But if you know in your head, in and out, backwards and forwards, no one's going to take you. No one's going to take advantage of you because you're going to stand in front of them and go, hey, these are a great 10 things, but you left off these 5 things. If you'll add those 5 things to this, I can get behind you. And they're going to say, no, we can't do that. Right? That's why right now, an important thing to do is to really think about, what do you want? And have that list ready on top of, yes, I want Social Security paid for forever. Yes, I want a better safety net. I want easier access for veterans to get health care and to get mental health care. I want full and complete respect for all races. I want DEI back. I want to help our Native American friends, our citizens. I want to help differently abled people. I want to make sure trans people are safe. I want to help LGBTQ to have, respect. I want to bring back a woman's right to choose times 1,000, right? What are all the things that we want? But then also, what do we want from our president, right? So we just have to be careful because this particular time is when they're going to just give us some things that sound amazing. And we're going to say, finally, somebody's thinking correctly. And we're going to sign on board, not realizing that they left out 3 or 4 really important things that we really, 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 upon retrospect, really, really wanted, you know? But we have to see, we have to have these conversations like you're having in the chat. You want term limits, somebody else doesn't, but that's okay. We want you to have we want all these things on the list. We want to think about them, talk about them. We want to know, as a country, what do we feel about this? Do we want ranked choice voting? Do we want to get rid of the stupid thing, the voting thing that is doesn't make any sense, right? What do we want? You know? Yeah, we want more ethics and more teeth in the ethics on the Supreme Court. We want all of these things. Yeah, tax the rich is number one, because how we get all those things is by taxing the rich. And like Heather Cox Richardson was saying, we're not even talking about that much money. We're just talking about going back to, say, George H. Bush, when he said, the reason that he got in trouble was because he said, no new taxes, read my lips. But then he had to renege and add taxes. But then his son got in there and just gave them all the money they wanted, right? So just going back to then, but even if we went back to Eisenhower, the tax rate on billionaires, there weren't billionaires, but the tax rate on rich people was incredible back then. And we can get back there. And people are ready to do it. You'll see it this weekend. There's enough of us that want this, that don't want kings, that don't want rich people that are so rich that they can buy our own country. Probably Bill Gates could pay off our debt and buy us. It's just really insane, right? Tax churches, right? These are all the conversations that we need to be having amongst ourselves, right? Talk about it with people, you know? Absolutely. It's really, really important. Right. I don't think we should be even taxing Social Security. That's another Republican BS thing, right? Why are we taxing Social Security? You paid for that. You paid taxes. Even if you didn't pay taxes on it, you shouldn't be taxed on it. You're an elderly senior person. You shouldn't be paid taxes on it. There's so many things, healthcare and housing for all, right? There's so many things that are so important. And you just have to talk about it with people so that because maybe I didn't think about something and you brought it up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I never thought about it." But that's really important to me. You won't know to be able to articulate it if you haven't, been talking to people about it and dreaming about it and just working towards it. And I'll tell you that, we just need to hold the Democrats to the fire. We need to hold them to the fire that they do this. Yeah, abolish Citizens United. Also, probably one of the very first things we need to do. Yeah, single payer, universal health care. Clinton increased incarceration. Let me tell you, that prison profit pipeline, that is wrong. We should not have for profit prisons. We shouldn't have for profit health care. We shouldn't. We shouldn't have for profit housing. Make your profit off my clothes. If you want to charge me a lot of extra money for designers, great, right? Great. That's fine. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to buy that. But things that I need to have to survive shouldn't be profitable. And, back in the 60s, healthcare, or even before that, healthcare was not a for profit center. It was not profit, it was a not for profit. So these are all things that we can change, you all, and we're going to get the opportunity to change it. So I just want you to be aware of that and spend time also thinking about that. Instead of how bad everything is, worrying about everything, let's put a lot more energy into creating the future that we want. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was, if our healthcare was completely paid for as part of our taxes, the way it is in Canada and some other states, some other countries. So that would be really, really nice. And I think that's how you manifest something, right? You manifest something by dreaming about it, by bringing it into reality. But instead, they want us in fear and they want us freaking out and they want us fighting each other. But instead, let's dream the perfect or a more perfect union, right? A more perfect country. Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are sharing some really good ones. Yeah. This is the conversation we need to have right here. Um, can you compile a list of what we all want with our input? And can it be a master list that we pass around? Huh, that's an interesting concept. I don't know how we would pass it around, honestly. Um, I don't know how that would happen. It would end up in somebody's spam box. um, but here's what I would tell you is, but I like where you're going with that. And what I would tell you is we've got to form groups, whether that's a local Democrats group or a local gardeners group or whatever it is that it is. And within that group, start sharing this, because this is what happens. The guides are saying this. I don't know this, but the guides are saying, when at the state level, you have delegates. And so the delegate goes and votes for me, right? Like I vote for whatever. The delegate goes and puts my vote in. But the delegate at the state level, they're the ones, at least in Texas, I don't know how this works everywhere, but they're the ones that negotiate the platform. They're the ones that get together and brainstorm. Okay, is this going to be on our platform or is this going to be on our platform? And that's the kind of energy that we need to be involved in, is making sure that the Democrats understand what we want on our platform. I don't really know how to do that as far as like a signatory. Um, I will just say to you that the top 8 to 10 things are going to be on signs this weekend. And they're going to be on signs going forward. And that's how it's going to coalesce into a movement around those things. And then from there, if you're involved in that movement, like maybe you go this weekend and your thing is Citizens United and you make that your sign. This is how we let people know what we're concerned about. what we want to see changed. We put our signs out there. We get visible about it. Australia's got great healthcare, so does Canada and Britain, but nothing is perfect. You'll hear them complain about it, but they're not going to go bankrupt, they're not going to literally go bankrupt or be sent home to die. So I mean, it might be irritating for them, but for us it would be a huge improvement actually. So oh, Sharon Sipe is here. Thank you. And thank you, moderators. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you found this interesting or helpful. And I hope that you enjoyed chatting with each other and supporting each other, because it's so important for us to have these places to gather and to talk and to listen and to respect each other. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate that I see so much support in the chat, and I certainly appreciate your support of me. If you want to know anything about my class coming up or my events or anything that's happening, please go to my website, susanlynnmedium.com. Yes, my things are marathons. You guys, I had an event with my members last night, and the company I use is Mighty Networks, because I didn't want to have it on Meta or on YouTube. I needed to have it completely separate. Mighty Networks kicked me off my live. They were like, "You've been talking too long. Goodbye." But it was 2 hours long. So, unfortunately, I'm long-winded. And the guides start channeling, and they're powering me. So I can do this. It's not probably what I should do, but it's what I can do. So I thought it was hilarious that they kicked me off last night. So funny. I walked through the house just cracking up. Yes, vision board is good, right? A democracy vision board. Imagine if you put out a call on Meetup. Meetup is a place that you can meet people, and you said, let's make democracy vision boards together. What if you made a democracy vision board for your community? What if you got a group of people together for your community, for your city, for your town? Do you know how much power you would have? A lot of those votes are decided by 10, 20, 100 people. If you had 5 people that were really involved in planning and thinking about what you wanted your community to be like, you would change it. And we know that because that's what the Redcoats did when they moved in. That's when they took over the school boards. That's how they did it. Let's reverse them. Let's reverse it on them and do that, right? Get involved in your local community. It is absolutely the best power that you can wield. So much more powerful than on the national stage, because then you're passing those senators that you want and those reps that you want, and even the mayor and the governor. And this is where the power is going in the future. The federal government is not going to have nearly as much power as the states going forward. So you want to take your power back? That's one way to do it. All right, everybody, please be safe tomorrow and this weekend. Be safe always. Love yourself. Do something really, really nice for yourself. Take really good care of yourself. I'll see you here on YouTube, but I'll also see you Wednesday on my other channel, where I give you, we did a video this Wednesday on my other channel, Susan Lynn, Spiritual Way Shower, on how to understand when Spirit is saying, stop, caution, and go. The red light, the green, yellow, red light. This is a great video about, hey, Spirit's telling you to stop, you're not paying attention. Spirit's saying be cautious, and you're hitting the accelerator to get through the yellow light. You're getting green lights, but you don't realize it because you just think things are normal. So there's videos on my other channel, Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower, that can help you get through this as well. So take really good care of yourself. And yeah, just understand, this is like a day at a time. This isn't going to be overnight. It's a day at a time kind of thing. And we're going to get through it together. That's what I know. I'm going to get through it with you. You're going to get through it with me. We're going to get through it together. Take really good care of yourselves. Much love. See you soon.